You wake up to a sunrise that is not a sunrise, because the light is too thin, too cold, and it arrives without warmth, spilling across a horizon the color of dried blood. The premise lands fast. What if we could already live on Mars not as a 2-week stunt, not as a science outpost for a handful of people, but as a real place to move, work, raise children, and grow old, starting years ago quietly until one day the world realizes a second human habitat has been operating in plain sight. It begins with the announcement that changes the meaning of home. A live feed shows a city under domes, layered like bubbles, with lights that glow like a reef in a dead sea. There are streets, not wide and romantic, but practical, pressurized corridors. There are farms stacked in vertical towers, green as an insult against the red dust outside. There are schools, because the moment children exist somewhere, it stops being an outpost and becomes a civilization. The first turn is the global rush of emotion. Some people feel pride, like the species finally grew up. Some feel grief, because Mars feels like an escape hatch for the rich. Some feel fear, because if humans can live there, humans can also hide there. Markets explode. National leaders claim credit. Conspiracy communities claim betrayal. Everyone argues about who got to go first. And almost nobody asks the most important question: what did it cost? The second turn arrives when the details leak. Living on Mars is not a triumph of rockets. It is a triumph of supply chains, power systems, and brutally strict rules. Water is mined from ice and recycled like a religion. Air is scrubbed, re-scrubbed, and measured down to the molecule. Food is engineered for calories and reliability, not pleasure. Every kilogram shipped from Earth was once a political fight. So Mars learned early to build its own tools, print its own parts, and treat waste like gold. The city survives because it is not romantic, it is disciplined. And that discipline changes the people. Mars colonists develop a culture where convenience is a childish fantasy. They schedule showers. They ration heat. They log every repair like a sacred text. They do not have the luxury of pretending problems will fix themselves, because on Mars, denial is a form of suicide. Another turn, the children. The first generation born on Mars becomes the true dividing line between worlds. Their bodies adapt to lower gravity in subtle ways, longer limbs, different muscle development, bone density managed through constant routines. They grow up under artificial skies and learn to read weather reports that can kill with radiation. Instead of rain, Earth becomes a story to them. A place of oceans and storms and crowds they only know through screens. They speak the same language, but with new words for pressures and failures and airlocks and the taste of recycled water. They have never felt wind on bare skin. They have never stood outside without a suit. And yet they call Mars home with the certainty Earth people reserve for childhood neighborhoods. The fourth turn is governance. Mars cannot be run like a distant research station forever. People form councils because rules on Mars are literally life support. They vote on oxygen reserves, on expansion schedules, on who gets what medical priority when supplies run thin. And slowly, inevitably, they stop asking Earth for permission. At first it is polite, then practical, then firm. Earth governments try to control Mars with laws and treaties, but laws do not hold pressure, and treaties do not scrub carbon dioxide. Mars begins to feel like a new kind of nation, one built not on borders but on systems. The dark twist starts here because systems are easier to control than people, and whoever controls the systems controls survival. The company consortium that built the first habitat owns the life support patterns, the algorithms that manage oxygen flow and water recycling are proprietary. The replacement parts come with Contracts, the colonists are free in theory and leased in reality. On Earth, it looks like pioneering. On Mars, it feels like being inside a machine that has terms and conditions. The next turn hits like a door sealing shut, a supply crisis. A launch window gets missed. A shipment fails. A solar storm forces shutdowns. For the first time, Mars cannot rely on Earth to patch the gap. The habitat goes into emergency mode, and the true hierarchy becomes visible. Some zones keep full power. Some get dimmed. Some people get priority access to medical oxygen. Others get told to wait. And the colonists learn the hardest truth about living on another planet. Survival always produces politics, and politics always produces resentment. The moment the crisis passes, Mars is not the same. People stop trusting Earth's promises. They start building redundancy like a form of rebellion. They print more, buy more, store more. They develop a mentality that Earth begins to call paranoid, but Mars calls responsible. Another turn, the first crime. Not a petty theft, but sabotage. Someone tampers with an air scrubber. It is caught in time, but the idea spreads like poison. On Earth, you can hate someone and still breathe the same air without thinking about it. On Mars, hatred can become mass murder with a screwdriver. Security becomes invasive. Access gets restricted. Surveillance expands. The habitat becomes safer and colder at the same time, because the price of survival in a sealed world is trust. And trust is fragile. Then comes the twist that makes Earth feel suddenly small. Mars begins exporting something. Not rocks for souvenirs, not propaganda, but a resource Earth needs. Data, research, industrial processes perfected in harsh conditions, high-purity manufacturing in low gravity, pharmaceuticals grown in controlled habitats. Mars becomes economically relevant. And once it becomes relevant, Earth's relationship to it changes from pride to anxiety. Earth has always treated space as a frontier. Now it has to treat it as a competitor. The final turn arrives when Mars announces its first constitutional principle, and it is not a flag or an anthem. It is a rule. No one can own life support. The systems that keep people alive become commons, governed transparently, audited openly, built collaboratively. Earth corporations call it theft. Mars calls it independence. And the aha lands with cold clarity. Living on Mars does not make humanity more united. It splits humanity into two versions of itself. Earth humans, raised in abundance, still debate reality like it is optional. Mars humans, raised under a dome, cannot afford that luxury. Mars becomes a mirror that reflects what civilization looks like when consequences are immediate. And then the question turns back on you. If we could already live on Mars, would it be humanity's second chance, or just humanity's old problems in a new sky? If you want more cinematic what-if stories that take a hopeful breakthrough and push it until it reveals the cost, like and subscribe and comment what you want next. If you had a ticket to Mars tomorrow, would you go knowing you might never be able to come back?